The 2026 FIFA World Cup meal at McDonald's is underway with one of 9 legendary cups in the lineup. Christian Pulisic, David Beckham, Lamine Yamal, Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry, Son Heung-min, Alphonso Davies, Santi Jimenez. And between the posts, it's Grimace. Get one of 9 collectible cups with a FIFA World Cup meal. At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
This episode is brought to you by Prime. What if you had one more chance with the one that got away?
Sam, you came home.
Based on the best-selling novel from Carly Fortune. Every Year After follows childhood friends Sam and Percy as they reunite in the dreamy, nostalgic lakeside town of Barry's Bay.
Love can be hard to find. So if you're lucky enough to find that person, never let go.
A second chance at first love. Every Year After, now streaming only on Prime.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
And we're live from the living room as Doug eyes up the match day spread. He's reaching for the Buffalo wing. Perfect. Hang on, what's this? Oh, he's gone for a can of Pepsi too. Incredible. What a finish. Sensational combination. Look at the delight on his face. There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a pack of Pepsi Zero Sugar for today's match. It's poetry in motion.
Now you said to me, Patreon exclusive, what does this cup that I'm holding wear? What is it? What is it wearing? This cup. That's how stupid I am right now. My cup says, Raheel, why don't you tell the listeners what my cup says?
It says, Piper, no. Tsunami. What's that? What's the one after that?
Buddhism. No. Oh, actually, I have to give a shout out to one of actually the only family members that we like share blood with who listens to our podcast. It's our cousin Saad. Cousin Saad saw this in a store and mailed it to me from California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. Cousin Saad should also be pointed out is the brother of Cousin Aisha, who who makes appearances on the podcast, but does not actively listen.
And you know what? What a bitch. Can I also tell you some other stuff? So, I've been like podcasting like a lunatic for the last month because of this goddamn Summer House stuff. Every week we're watching an hour and a half of Summer House and we're talking about it for 3 fucking hours. Okay. And I'm having a good time, to be fair. Okay. I am having a good time. Hello, ad revenue. Okay. But so many people after this weekend's episode with you said, I love all your other content, but your stuff with Raheel is my absolute favorite.
Look at that. You know what? To those people that wrote in, and even if you didn't write in, but you heard my voice and you appreciated me, I love you. And not even like, hey, I love you as a listener. I love you as a human being. I need more of yous in my life because I'll tell you who does not appreciate me. It's my fucking family.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy? I heard that and I immediately went, okay, weird. So like everything that I do by myself is not good enough. And you guys only like the stuff that I do with my brother. What? Because he's a man? Because he's a cis straight man?
Hey, you said a bunch of things there. That may or may not be true. No, I'm joking. Yes, they are all true. But yeah, no, hey, listen, if that's what it is, if, my masculine presence brings balance.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
maybe that's a good thing. Listen, I don't mean I would never call you shrill or say that you are a harpy, or
Except for all the times that you have.
no.
What is a harpy?
Huh?
What is a harpy?
What is a harpy? So I remember the first time I heard the phrase harpy was your favorite Ann Coulter was talking about. She was talking about 9/11 widows before the 2004 election, because there were 9/11 widows that were like talking about how Bush is a bad guy, and Ann Coulter called them these harpies, and I was like, oh.
Okay, well, a harpy, to be called a harpy is to be insulted as a grasping, malicious, or unpleasant woman with a fierce temper. And you know what? I wear that shit like a badge of honor because I am an unpleasant woman with a fierce temper. I'm okay with that.
You should get a QR code tattoo on the back of your neck. And then whenever anybody scans it, it takes them to that definition of harpy. I think that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. But also it originates from Greek and Roman mythology. It is a half human and half bird mythical creature, often believed to be the personification of storm winds.
Ooh.
Okay. I mean, I like that. Storm is one of my favorite X-Men, so that works.
Oh.
I do like that. And you know what? So anyway, back to my point. Back to what you were saying earlier. You don't want to call me shrill or a harpy, but
I think that was it. I forgot my train of thought after that. I think that was the key content that I wanted to share. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Hey, guess what? Today was the day. Yeah. Oh, okay. Fingers are raised. Yeah.
I do have a question because I hope this is the first and last I hear about this. But like I have been seeing a lot of this summer house stuff in the ether. Right. It's like the Knicks winning. It has broken containment, I would say. And it feels like these people are now more famous than they were before this season started. Right. I think obviously the lead up, the Sierra, the Amanda Batula. See, I know these names now. I know Wes Wilson.
Yeah.
Because you told me about him before. But like now I know these people and I kind of have a sense of like what's going on or whatever. My question is, how is Sierra doing? That's all I care about.
Okay, Sierra is doing amazing. Okay.
Sierra's
doing amazing. She is actually currently in Fiji because she is hosting a Love Island after show. And that's like a big deal because Love Island is primetime stupid reality TV, as you know.
Now, correct me if I am wrong, but wasn't the other lady that was... Oh, Ariana
Maddox. Ariana Maddox of Scandival is the host of Love Island USA. And now Sierra and also Tefi Pessoa, who's like a YouTuber, podcaster, pop culture personality, and writer. She and Sierra host Love Island. And Raheel, like just to give you a little clip of how they're doing it. This season on Love Island, it's as you know, a very stupid show. But one of the contestants is a Paralympian, like an actual like multi-medaled Paralympian, right? There's a Paralympian, you have a bikini store manager. You have models.
Not even an owner, a manager?
Yeah.
Wait, how hard? No, I gotta ask, how hard is it? I guess if it is a bikini store, I guess the bottoms and the tops get mismatched all the time. I imagine like that's hard to kind of wrangle in because they're so small and tiny, right?
No, but also she's a bikini store manager in Philadelphia. So you're like, okay. Anyway.
She works 6 months out of the year.
Yeah, like 3 months actually. So anyway, there's a woman who works at like a hardware store. There's just like models. Another guy like repairs elevators, right? And then one guy was a cop.
Ooh.
And everybody went, ew! So Sierra said ACAB on the after show. I was like, okay, that's amazing. So Sierra's doing really well. Sierra is She's crushing it. She's doing really well. She's beloved. I'm very happy for her. And she is far, far, far away from these people in New York
Okay.
doing
And
nonsense.
just for my selfish purposes, she is not competing on Love Island. She is not searching for love on Love Island.
She's not. She's not. So you do still have a chance with Sierra Miller.
So in terms of her, where she is looking, the pool that she is looking at for love, for potential love, it is beyond just the pool of the contestants on Love Island.
She's not looking at those contestants as possible pool. She's just there to watch the show and do hilarious commentary on it.
And just judge them. Okay, good.
Yeah. That's all she's there for. She's doing really well. And if you want to know how those other two are doing, they're like going to bars in the West Village. Like that's where there's like all of the NYU students hang out. You know, it's like that situation.
Now, is there a race component? Now, obviously, you see race in everything. You see race in your cup.
Honey.
Is there a race component to like where these lines are being drawn? I asked because I was at a bakery recently and I saw two young girls talking about it. Now, they did not pick sides or whatever, but I was wondering, hey, are we picking teams? Because you know my team, and my team is based on one thing only. But I would imagine that the viewership, as you have described them, they do tend to fall under race lines. Is that what you are seeing happen, play out?
Well, first, my question is, when you saw these people talking about Summer House, did you stop them and say, hey, my sister has a podcast, you should listen to it?
I almost did. Now, this is a bakery that you know about that I go to every week because
give her a shout out, Baklava Lady.
Baklava Lady, yes. I go there every once a week because it is the little treat that I give to myself. It was, in the moment, I would say there were two young women, probably both somewhere around 21 years of age. They were having what felt like a private conversation. Was there an opening for me? Am I kind of there enough that I could have piped up? Possibly. Right. But at the same time, you don't want to be that person. Now, if I do see them again, and if the subject does come up again, I will broach it. And my lead in will be the fact that you are hated by racists, because that is something that they are very, very strong on. Also, not the racism, being anti-racist.
Oh yeah, okay, good for them. And were these young ladies? Could you share their backgrounds, their ethnicity, how they were presenting?
I believe one of them is the daughter of the Baklava Lady, but I believe she's half and half. So she's half Turkish and half white. I think she presents as a white person, but I don't know what she considers herself. The other one is a brown girl. I believe she's Pakistani, actually. Now, she wasn't there when I was there this past weekend, but I was talking to the OG Baklava Lady because I was asking her what the shawarma meat was made of in the last. It turns out it was mushrooms. Anyways, she mentioned.
By the way, guys, plug for shawarma lady for Baklava Lady. It's an amazing vegan bakery in New Jersey. It's the best.
Englishtown, New Jersey. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. What was I saying?
You didn't have a way in. It would have been too weird. You would have been a creepy old man. Even though I will say you present young.
I do present. I present immature.
You know what? I can see how somebody would be charmed by you in the same way that people are charmed, unfortunately, by West Wilson.
Oh, what the fuck? But that's what I'm working with. Wait, no, but that's that would be good for me and Sierra if she was bamboozled by that guy once.
Sierra is a self-proclaimed goober lover. She says she loves a goober, and you are a goober.
Yeah, I am.
Now, you were asking about the race component. Yes, I think that. So the thing with Summer House is there's no blatant racism because these are people from New York. Like, they're liberal, they're progressive, all that stuff. So there's no blatant racism, but there is a race component because of actually just recently people were talking about the show. One of the cast members was talking about the show, and she's talking a lot about how Wes Wilson is like a master manipulator. And she was saying how, you know, Amanda, she wasn't saying like Amanda should be given grace or anything, but essentially she was saying like, we don't talk enough about West being a manipulator. And a lot of the audience is looking at it and saying, why is it that this white woman isn't being held accountable? Amanda isn't being held accountable. Now she's being treated like a victim in the situation by you guys saying, well, West is a master manipulator and he manipulated her, right? And I think like a lot of times there is in the fandom a conversation about, you know, obviously, as you know, I hate men first and foremost, right? Then next on my line, who do I hate the most? Raheel, say it.
White women.
Okay. But like, you know, on TV, by the way, disclaimer in case my employer is listening. I don't know. Anyway, but like there is a component that happens where sometimes the conversation ends up being like, we're not going to hold white women to their egregious behavior because we're always going to figure out a way where she was confused or like she didn't know any better and all that kind of stuff and so there's like a little bit of that. I also think the race component within that friendship is that Amanda had like 1 million followers and Amanda has been on the show for 10 years. So anytime Amanda does something that actually harms Sierra, she should recognize that the millions of followers she has are going to, within that millions, there are racist people. And within those racist people, they are going to attack Sierra, a Black woman, and put her at risk, right? So that's the kind of like conversation we're talking about when it comes to racism. I also think ultimately these people don't love Sierra the way that she deserves to be loved. And, you know, is there a race component there? I don't know. But certainly she was not respected by these people. Also, Wes Wilson is like he's that word that we don't use anymore that we were talking about Timothy Chalamet the other day. You know, like he's a culture vulture. Yeah. Okay. So
I did see that he has a podcast. I think maybe you told me with Sophie Cunningham of all people, right? Which is like, I know we have sports on the docket today and I'm very, very excited to get into it. But like that is, you know, that's what you are seeing just being a sports fan also is like where I don't know. I mean, like it's like where you have true appreciation for the athletes. And a lot of times true appreciation for the athletes versus, you know, when you see athletes pop because of some other reason, right? And we've talked enough about Sophie Cunningham to talk about some of the reasons around her, right? So like,
yeah, he grew up with her and he's like, oh, I like know her really well. Like that's somebody I grew up with. You're like, yuck, MAGA Barbie? Okay, that's weird. Anyway, he sucks. He actually got fired from the show just yesterday. He's not going to be asked to return to Summer House, but he and Amanda are still together. And as recently as a week ago, there was a picture of or a video of them sitting out on the street, spitting into each other's mouths. And when I say spitting into each other's mouth, Amanda hawked a loogie and spit it directly into Wes's mouth.
All right, I'm going to need to take a break from the podcast and watch the video.
And by the way, you want to talk about breaking containment? You know what I really hate, Raheel, about this whole thing is how much Dave Portnoy is involved in all of this. Do you know about that?
Oh, I did not know.
Dave Portnoy is involved because after the whole thing came out and they like released a statement, Dave Portnoy said Brianna Chicken Fry went to the Super Bowl and Wes Wilson told Brianna Chicken Fry that he and Amanda Battaglia were already an item. And that is as early as February. And Dave Portnoy was online talking about it. And he's been like talking quite a bit about it. And I'm just like, Dave, why don't you go get on your tippy toes and take some pictures with boys? Okay.
The only thing that I don't like about this, but the only thing that makes me appreciate this is that Dave Portnoy and his ilk have infiltrated sports, right? They've infiltrated sports. And I mean, obviously they've been a part of it for like the last, I'd say 15, 20 years. So like Barstool Sports, just so you know, when it first came out, right, which was like in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
The conversation online around sports, it was primarily being driven by Bill Simmons, I would say, because like that having like a fan's point of view became like the big deal. That was the change from like traditional sports media where the reporters were supposed to be completely objective, right? And you weren't supposed to root for teams or whatever. Bill Simmons was the first one that I recall that kind of changed that. And as a result, all of these like blogs and stuff started popping up. Things like Deadspin, which Deadspin I loved. And then Deadspin had like some really problematic shit also happened in the middle that we don't have time to get into. But in that time, right, Barstool Sports was looked at as the bottom of the barrel. Like it was very obvious that Dave Portnoy was this stupid person who nobody turned to for anything that was in any way insightful, that was even in any way funny, right? Up until like, I think 15 years ago, he was posting pictures of Tom Brady's son, like his like 3-year-old son or 2-year-old son, naked on the beach and talking about the size of his son's penis. Obviously, for it to be that's a real thing that happened. He called Tom Brady's son's penis like a howitzer or something. Again, he was trying to be funny. He was on, I believe, Howard Stern.
Why is he not arrested? That's an insane thing to do, to talk about a child.
Well, so not just that, right? So like Barstool then got popular within the college sports crowd. Like college students really, really like Barstool Sports because it was really dumb and it was really stupid. And it was like, especially if you're like a college football fan, like an NCC college football fan, that stuff is really, really appealing. Barstool used to host like what they used to call blackout parties, where the point of it was that you would show up and all these girls would get drunk, and then, you black out. And so the conversation around Dave Portnoy and how he has somehow become a legitimate part of not just sports media, but regular media is infuriating once you get into it, right? So like we are waiting for the reckoning of a lot of people, obviously, because like what's going on in the culture right now is just stupid. And so somehow in that whole process, Dave Portnoy has become somebody that, regular people think is somebody that they should be turning to. He's a fucking moron. Mm-hmm. I think all of this to say that I am glad that what has irked me as a sports fan is now irking you as a Summer House / Bravo person.
And you know what? I feel the same way about Dave Portnoy as I do about like Michael Rappaport. I'm like, I don't need these white men in these spaces. Okay. Mm-hmm. I do not need these men in these spaces. That is unnecessary. Like Bravo is fun. And Bravo is for me, and Bravo's for the girls and gays and theys. Okay. It's not for these men. And honestly, I think that what we're learning is that social media and engagement as currency online. And so anytime something is trending, people just talk about it. Like there's a lot of stuff that's trending that I don't talk about on the podcast because I don't know about it. And that would be stupid for me to like get on mic and talk about something I don't know or I don't understand. And I think that there's a lot of people online, from like content creators to podcasters to whoever, that are going to have 2 cents about it just because they know that that is a trending topic and they want to go viral or whatever. It's very stupid. And I don't appreciate Dave Portnoy in general. I've always disliked him. And Barstool Sports, unfortunately, Barstool Sports was the one that did Sundays are for the boys, right? Saturdays are for the boys or whatever. And so these guys like Kyle and Carl, who were like part of Summer House like first season, they used to love to like wear that shirt or like have art in their room that said like Saturdays are for the boys. And it's shut up.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
No one goes to Hank's for spreadsheets. They go for a darn good pizza. Lately, though, the shop's been quiet, so Hank decides to bring back the $1 slice. He asks Copilot in Microsoft Excel to look at his sales and costs and help him see if he can afford it. Copilot shows Hank where the money's going and which little extras make the dollar slice work. Now Hank has a line out the door. Hank makes the pizza, Copilot handles the spreadsheets. Learn more at m365copilot.com/work.
Stressed your vacation rental is catfishing you? Not on Vrbo. Vrbo's Loved by Guests badge highlights top-rated properties guests truly love. The ones with exceptional, verified ratings for cleanliness, location, all the good stuff. That means no surprises. No, this looked better online. What you see is what you get. Look for the Loved by Guests badge and book today on the Vrbo app. If you know, you Vrbo.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Hey, listen, I definitely don't want to judge. Like, there's a part of sports fandom where
First of all, Raheel, why don't you want to judge? I think you should.
No, because I know there's a part of my brain that enjoys watching sports on that level where it is just stupid and you can just hate the other team and it's fun. Like, I hate the Cowboys, for example, right? And I'll say terrible things about Cowboys and their fans and the Patriots, blah, 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 blah. So there's an aspect of sports where that is enjoyable, but Barstool and things like that, that's all it is. They aren't looking beyond just what they see on the field. And I don't feel like they treat the athletes the way that they should treat athletes or, respect them the way that they should. They are much more, they're just much more into like the headline pieces of it and like the shock pieces of it. And to a lot of people, like that is comforting, I would say. Like it's comforting to just watch something stupid about sports, right? So that's not the way that I like to consume sports, but I guess to each their own. But I do, I will judge you. Fuck it.
It's a judging season. Also, like I think that the way that you've described it, it just feels like to me like page 6 for sports. TMZ for sports is Barstools.
Yeah, no, that's 100% what it is. It is TMZ for sports. It is page 6 for sports. It's probably a little bit, below that also.
We have so many other things to talk about in Summer House, and this piece of shit was not on the docket at all. So look at what you've done.
I apologize.
It's fine. Hey, it's a good time to be in New York, New Jersey, tri-state area, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Listen, it's great for, to born and raised in the Bronx people like me and you and I born and raised in the Boogie Down Bronx. No, it is, it's awesome. It's really, really nice.
Listen, I spent 5 years in Queens and I did have an unlimited Metro card. So there you go.
There you go. And I went to the city within the last 6 months. That's what I will say.
Oh man, when's the last time I was in the city? Oh, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Both of us were there. It's fine. Listen, what, how about those Knicks, huh?
How about those Knicks?
Did you watch the Hamilton edit that I sent you?
I did watch it this morning.
Okay, guys, there's a Hamilton clip. I'm going to put edit on Instagram. I'm going to put it in the show notes. It's so good. It's the part of the soundtrack or like part of the play where they go, the world turned upside down. And then it's all these clips of everybody weeping and crying and celebrating after the Knicks won. And it goes, we won, we won, we won. I was like, oh my God, I started crying. I don't even like the Knicks like that. But I love New York City so much that I was just so fucking happy for the city of New York.
Now, I have a feeling. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I have a feeling that you are starting to like the Knicks like that. Like, I feel like you are enjoying this Knicks win way more. Well, actually, no, this would be a controversial statement.
You better watch your mouth right now.
You know exactly where I'm going with this.
And I don't like it. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I feel like you are partaking in this as if the Eagles had won the Super Bowl.
Okay. First of all, watch your mouth. Okay. No, because at least I'll be honest. All of the basketballs that were on, I watched every game, but just the last 4 minutes of it.
That was the best part of the games.
Right. So no, I am not celebrating it like that. I would never go birds. Go birds. If my husband's listening, I swear to God, please don't leave me. No, I'm really happy for them. And I think I'm also really happy for them because the 2 stars of the Knickerbockers are from right here from New Jersey. Are they not?
Oh, Oh, Kat and Jalen Brunson. Look at you. Yes, they are.
They're trying to rename New Brunswick to New Brunson because that's where he's from.
He was born in New Brunswick. He's really from Camden, New Jersey. But yes.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I was trying to think of ways that you could potentially get into the Knicks, or that you could kind of get into the sports part of this the same way that you are into like the Bravo stuff. Because so like, obviously somebody wins the championship every single year, right?
Mm-hmm.
This championship is a much bigger championship, I would say, than any that I can recall maybe in like the last 10 years. Like the last time I remember a championship causing this much of a hubbub, especially in the NBA, would be probably the Cavaliers, who won 10 years ago. They came back from 3-1, and that was like a fun story. It was the first championship for Cleveland. The reason why this one seems to be resonating so much is, number one, is because it's New York City and it's the Knicks. And New York City, at the end of the day, I think is more of a basketball town than it is anything else. Like I think it's a pretty big baseball town also. Like when the Yankees and the Mets are good, there is an energy in the ether. But when the Knicks are good, there's nothing like that. Like going to Madison Square Garden when the Knicks are good, there's nothing more exciting than that, right? And it's because there's been a drought. Like it doesn't make sense that the Knicks have sucked for as long as they have. So getting over that drought is really exciting. And then number 3 is like, this team is actually special. Like this team, like the people that make up this team they are like the story of Jalen Brunson. The fact that they have this guy who was a 2nd round pick, who like up until like this, even the start of the playoffs. And I admit, like, I'm one of these people also. I did not think that he was as good as he is. I don't think anybody saw him being as good as he is. So he's a very easy person to root for. And then the rest of the team also, like, I'm sorry. What I'm trying to understand is how much of like the actual Knicks has broken containment and gone to you. Like, about the Nova Knicks? Do you know like the backstory on Kat? Because I think those are things that would actually make it much, much more appealing for you, because that's when we start talking about things like NBA Twitter.
Okay. Are these the Nova Knicks? Was that all of the players that came from Villanova?
Yes.
Okay. And then I do know that OG, he had that amazing, he's the reason why they won. That's right.
He won. He's the reason why they won Game 4. Yeah.
Yes, Game 4. Right. So I know enough about these players to be excited for them and just be happy for them. Admittedly, I said before, I'm not like a big basketball girly, even though basketball is really exciting. I only watch the last 4 minutes of any basketball game, and it's only if it's a close game. I don't watch all of basketball, whereas like I will watch an entire football game and genuinely be interested in the whole thing. But with basketball, it's kind of the way I feel about tennis. It's just back and forth. You know what I mean? And I'm like, how long are we going to watch this for? Now, what I will say is that we do need to talk just briefly about Victor Wembanyama, right? Is that how you say his last name?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, what did he say at the end of his presser after he lost the championship?
He said, appreciate y'all. Hope to see y'all never. Which it doesn't make any sense.
By the way, that is so Bravo coded. Like, I'm sorry, that is a diva. Okay, get her on the couch because she is ready to get messy. That's the stuff that I love. And by the way, he is a demon on the basketball court. He's a little bit of a he's got a lot of limbs, is what I will say. And
he's got a lot of
sometimes that he is perhaps unaware of the way in which perhaps his flailing limbs might hurt a person. But sometimes it feels like he's very aware and kind of maybe purposely being a little bit of a menace on the court.
See, this is exactly why I need you to start watching sports. Like, I can't tell you the amount of material that you would I'll try something. I'll try something here. Do you know about Josh Hart's thumb up Jalen Brunson's ass? If I would say that statement to you, does it make learning about basketball more or less intriguing to you?
It makes it the most intriguing for me. I'm like, yeah, tell me more. Anyway, I Google imaged it, and that is crazy. And then he said it was AI.
So that's the thing, right? Like, you need to know about the Nova Knicks. Like, Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson have been best friends for like 10 years. Their wives are really, really close. They're like the best of friends. The Knicks won this. The NBA now has what they call, it's like a mid-season tournament. I forget what it's called. It's called the NBA Cup or something. And the Knicks won it this year, and they beat, ironically, they beat the Spurs in the final. And when Jalen Brunson was accepting the trophy, Josh Hart snuck a thumb right up his bum. And it was hilarious because it was just bros kind of getting into it, right? So like their personalities are like they have a podcast. I think it's called the Roommates Pod. That it's them two primarily, and then they have another co-host, and then they have like these, like these rotating cast of characters. A lot of them are like the Nova Knicks guys. So like Mikal Bridges he's one of the Nova Knicks. They used to have this other guy named Dante DiVincenzo who was a part of the Nova Knicks. And so they were together for a year, but then Dante got traded 2 years ago. So like, isn't that something that you would love? Kind of understanding that boy dynamic, kind of understanding how these things kind of work out. You go things like, oh, is Jalen Brunson's wife really friends with Josh Hart's wife? Is that a thing? Should I be? That's the part that I think that if you were able to free up some time and get into like the sports stuff, it would have been like if you knew OG Anunoby's backstory, when you watched that tip and go in, you would be a fucking mess. OG, like the fact that it was a heroic moment, and it was great for the Knicks fans, and it was great for the Knicks that they won. Obviously, in a vacuum, that's great. But if you know OG and you know like what an amazing dude he is, watching him be successful in that moment, it takes on a different level of appreciation and awesomeness. So I would love it if you can kind of use this fraudulent Nick fandom that you have going on right now, sharing social media clips of Hamilton and Knicks intercut, whatever. I don't care. Listen, I recognize you as a fraud. I still welcome you.
Hold on. Go ahead. No, finish your thought, and I will defend myself.
I'm saying I am, as a gatekeeper, rightfully so, of sports on this podcast. I would welcome you in. I would, I wouldn't make a big deal about the fact that you're a fraud, and all those things. So I want you to know that this is a safe space.
It doesn't seems safe because you have called me a fraud like 4 times. Yeah. But I will say this, that I want to clarify that I don't know if it's necessary that I care about the Knicks, but what I do care about is the area that we live in, and like happiness and joy. And like, look, I don't want to say that the Knicks won because of Zoran Mamdani, but it does feel like he had a big part of it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, yeah, there's all these like pictures and videos of like, oh, they destroyed buses and they were like setting shit on fire, all this stuff, celebrating in New York. Guess what? By the next morning, NYC Sanitation cleaned all those streets up. You know why? Because they're well paid and well organized, because they have a good fucking mayor in the city. Like, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, our cousin who lives in Brooklyn, she's like, every night is a block party. Every single night, people are outside celebrating. Every single night, people are just happy. I think that especially because we have existed, especially New York City, was hit so hard during COVID. Like, ooh, I think I might get a little emotional just saying this. The fact that like 6 years ago today, New York City as we knew it was like dead. And the streets were lined up with fucking morgue vans because people were dying, right? And we had fucking the goddamn mayor. Was he mayor?
Eric Adams?
No. We had the governor of the state at the time, Cuomo.
Yeah, listen, we all loved Andrew Cuomo back then.
We did love him back then, but it turns out he was doing all kinds of fraudulent shit, you know?
It turns out he was killing old people.
Turns out he said, fill up those morgue vans with all of the elderly. It was nuts. But like to think that New York City went from being hustle and bustle to being dead overnight, quiet. Roads, streets are lined up with morgue vans, these morgue trucks. Hospitals were overrun. Like, you know, my husband was a healthcare employee at the time. It was a really scary time. So to go from that to now this, where every single night there is a block party and people are happy and they're loving. I mean, there are going to be so many babies born 10 months from now. Like, I'm excited for, like, I'm happy to feel joy. I'm happy to be part of whatever this is. If it was the Knicks or the Yankees or the Mets, I don't care what team it is, but I'm just really happy for, like, they're calling it collective effervescence. This feeling of like collective joy where you're genuinely happy for each other and you're like genuinely part of this like incredible human experience of like looking at each other and being like, man, this is the best. You know, the only thing I would compare it to is like when after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, whenever you see somebody in the streets and you say, go Birds. Yeah. It's very exciting and it's very stupid because you're like, what is this? But it is this like great equalizer right now. I don't even like the Knicks like that, but I'm just so happy for the people in this area.
Yeah, no, and obviously I was being a little facetious in giving you guff for it, but I like that you pointed out the Zoran thing because, you know, when we talk about Barstool and we talk about like the bad side of sports or whatever, what's obvious is that Zoran is an actual fan. And seeing him participate as an actual fan and kind of the energy that he brings. And I think people pick up on it also. So like when you see him at the Puerto Rican Day Parade wearing a Knicks jersey and just going down, there is genuine excitement about this person because I think people see that as like a number one, as a genuine person and then also a genuine fan, right? You juxtapose that against Donald fucking Trump getting booed the fuck out at MSG because that is where real people are. And then you also see the stupid fucking party that he had to throw for himself that cost hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars because he needed to set the table in his own advantage because when he goes to an actual public space like MSG, he's going to get booed the fuck out, right? So instead, he invited 4,000 of his closest racist friends to watch men grapple on the White House lawn, right? So I think that's like the good and the bad of the sports for me is like, yes, sports at this point, and obviously with the World Cup going on right now, there is obviously this big commercial spectacle aspect to sports, but the stuff that we connect to and then the reason why we continue to watch it and the reason why it feels so special when things like the Knicks winning after 53 years happens is because of that collective effervescence thing that you're talking about, right? It is, we are all hoping for the same thing, we've all been dreaming about the same thing. And then when it actually fucking happens, it feels like a religious experience because it feels like a miracle. And there's nothing else. There's no form of entertainment that's kind of like that. So
there's really not, I hate to say it, but there really is nothing like a sports miracle. Am I right?
No.
It's amazing. But I will say the slippery slope for me when you enter sports spaces is that you end up for some reason at Magacella watching a bunch of ogres roll around and touch. I mean, listen, you want to talk about gay? My God, like it's insane. By the way, I looked it up. This UFC 250 event, UFC Freedom 250 event held on the South Lawn of the White House. It cost anywhere between $60 to $85 million to put together. And guess what, guys? That money did not come out from Donald Trump's coffers. It came out from America's coffers, which means that if you paid a fuck ton of money in your taxes this year, that's where it went. And in the last 2 years, Trump cut vaccine research. He cut pediatric cancer research. He's cut cancer programs. He cut DI programs. This man, remember Doge? They were like, we don't need all of this. There's too much excess spending in the government. Guys, I voted for people to come in and clean up the excess spending by the government. Anyway, we're building an octagon on the White House.
A cage.
A cage on the White House fucking lawn. And then there was like planes flying over. America, America. This is
America's a funny some video song.
That's the only song I feel like I think about whenever I see a bunch of fighter jets fly overhead. Stupid.
Yeah.
What's the Top Gun music? Oh, no, it doesn't go. They would think
are you going for? Well, so this is a Top Gun song, which is "Highway to the Danger Zone." Highway to the Danger Zone. There's
now,
also
is Take My Breath Away also part of Top Gun?
That is also, yes, Take My Breath Away is a part of Top Gun. Also, Lady Gaga had a banger in the latest Top Gun movie.
Okay.
It's gonna come to me. I'll start singing it.
Top Gun. Hold My Hand.
Oh, yeah, it is. I can't.
You started to sing it, and it was going hootie.
It was going. Hold my.
I want you to hold my hand. Okay. Anyway, listen. It's so stupid. They spend so much money. It's so embarrassing. Did you see the clip of the one guy going in for like a weigh-in and he was like waddling on and he was like vomiting on himself? It was so fucking weird. The whole thing was bad. And then you have Joe Rogan. Now, let me say something. I've only seen Joe Rogan, his head in front of a microphone. Yeah. The last time I've seen full head to toe on Joe Rogan is when he was on Fear Factor. When I saw this man doing whatever commentary for this UFC 250 Freedom event, I was like, did somebody eat Joe Rogan? Did Joe Rogan eat Joe Rogan? And I'm not body shaming him. I'm concerned how he is breathing because it looks like the airwaves are constricted. And then the tie is short. You watch something like that and you go, how can you look at this and justify it and still say, yeah, this makes sense. This feels right for my political party to be doing on the fucking White House lawn.
Oh, you mean the entire event? I didn't know if you meant the entire event or if you meant like how can you look at Joe Rogan and say that this makes sense? Because that's also, listen, I am not a UFC person. I am not an MMA person. That whole UFC MMA thing has really gotten popular. Again, I would say it's in line with the way that Barstool Sports has gotten popular in the last 10 to 15 years, right? It is very much a social media sport, I would say. Like the storylines and stuff like that. I see a lot of people that are huge UFC fans. There's incidentally a big UFC following for Muslim men also.
Yes, it's very red pill. It's terrible. Was that guy Khabib?
Khabib, yeah. And that's the reason why, because the greatest, I guess he's a middleweight or a lightweight, the greatest UFC fighter of all time is probably Khabib. And he is Muslim, right? So that is a point of pride for Muslims. And as a Muslim person, he had to deal with Islamophobia by Conor McGregor and like just in general, UFC fans being pieces of shit. So obviously you feel a sense of closeness to that person. Having said that, like all those guys, like those UFC Muslim guys, also like super duper homophobic, like very, all that. So you got, it's all of that stuff.
Yeah, they're homophobic, and then they're like, anyway, let's get together, boys only, get in my basement, turn off the lights, and watch a bunch of men in underwear rub each other, roll around in a cage.
So that's my issue with the MMA stuff is I have tried to watch it. I can't get caught up in the science of it. I can't get caught up in the aesthetics of it. Like I am sure that they're like people watch UFC and they go, oh man, that was an amazing fight. I saw this happen. And then this guy did this one move and this other guy did a counter move. When I watch it, I just see dudes grappling like on the ground with each other and, to each their own. Like that's not, that's not what I'm looking for out of my sports, but yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
it is the worst sport to have in front of the White House. I mean, anybody that sees that and isn't embarrassed by it, there's something wrong with them, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, on the White House lawn, Joe Rogan was interviewing some guy. What's his name? Josh Hockett. And they're like, what do you want to say? And then he said a horrible thing about Michelle Obama. And it's like insane to me. Like, it's insane to me because I was like, let me think, like, what would a MAGA person say about this? And a MAGA person's response to it is, he's a comedian. He's always funny this is like part of his shtick is to be funny. And like, also, like, people call Trump a fascist. So like, how is that any different?
I think like that response probably, it ties back into Joe Rogan. It ties back into people like Tony Hinchcliffe that were at the event, right? And like, it ties back into like the conversation that Joe Rogan and his buddies wanted to have about comedy in the last 5 or 10 years, right? There's been like this whole thing about like, oh, well, you know, we are popular now because we are fighting for freedom of speech. We're free speech warriors, and like, we are anti-woke, and wokeness has ruined comedy because you can't say anything, you can't offend other people, you can't offend people's feelings or whatever, right? That guy who made the comment about Michelle Obama, like, again, there isn't anything beyond that, right? Like, you can be a fucking 5-year-old and make a stupid comment about like identifying a woman as a man, and like, to a 5-year-old, that's funny. Like, that is how that is. There's nothing beyond that. There's no shame beyond that. There's no like. Sorry, go ahead.
I would argue, as a person who has raised 2 5-year-olds, even they don't find that funny.
No, exactly.
Even they don't hear somebody say, so and so looks like a girl, or why are you dressed like a man? They don't ever hear that and think that's okay to laugh at. They never hear that and think that that's appropriate. They're 9 and 12, right? Like, and they've never felt that way. They've never thought that that was funny. There's no part of that's funny to them, because it's not. And to go to the point of like comedians, you know, this is why we get mad at Dave Chappelle when he makes transphobic jokes. This is why we get upset, because when you open up that space, you're creating space for people like this dickhead to say something like that on the lawn of a place where that woman lived for 8 years. Like, it's horrible. And in Michelle Obama's own words, she said, strong, confident men do not need to disparage women. They don't need to. Anybody who sits around to shit on women, you're doing it because you're fucking insecure. And like, you know that the comment that was made about Michelle Obama, like, hit for me, because I recently had to basically tell somebody off for making a comment like that in front of me. And it's horrible. It's like, to think that this is at all acceptable is so crazy. And like, thankfully, I don't know any MAGA people. Thank God. I don't personally know any MAGA people, but I know people whose parents are MAGA. And I would love to go, hey, what does your dad think about this? Is this acceptable? And like, not even the comment about Michelle Obama, just this fucking embarrassing spectacle, where, by the way, Trump once again fell asleep, likely after pooping and pee-peeing in his diaper.
That's the funniest part about all this is, right? Okay, like, you are like these alpha men. You are these alpha men that are going to get into a cage and get bloody on. And it's like, you're doing it in service of this guy? Like, this guy who has been so embarrassed of his own image for the last 40 fucking years that his hair has been a joke. Like, how he presents himself has been a joke to the rest of, like, how do you I don't know how you grapple with both of those things. I don't know how you put those things together. And the one other thing that I wanted to say about like the Michelle Obama stuff is, like, at the core of all this stuff and at the core of everything, as I'm learning by being on here, at the core of everything, I know there is misogyny is at the core of it. But at the core of this is, I mean, it's just straight up racism, right? Like that is the stuff that's driving all of this stuff. And so like for Joe Rogan and like the comedians and like even when you hear them out, like quote unquote, right? Like, okay, well, yeah, you are this paragon of free speech or whatever, and you're fighting for free speech. Like once they have the stage, there isn't anything there other than just straight up racism, right? You said you haven't seen Joe Rogan from anywhere other than behind his desk. Joe Rogan made a Michelle Obama joke basically like that 2 years ago. And he did that in his stand-up special that Netflix paid him $50 million or something like that for. Like Netflix gave this guy tens of millions of dollars and they gave him, you know, all this visibility, even though he is one of the most popular people in the world. And what did he do with that time is he used that time to make a joke about Michelle Obama, right? It's like, yeah, buddy, like, you know, you can cry about not having, you know, freedom of speech or whatever, but it is, what do you do with it once you have it? And if this is the way that you're going to fucking piss it away, then you're not worthy of it. Like, that's the thing that I want people to kind of ask these people. It's just like, okay, you have your freedom of speech. What did you do with it?
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah. And it's misogyny, it's racism, and it's misogynoir. It's the attack on Black women. And I think one thing that people need to understand is when they're casually transphobic or when they're transphobic at all and they talk about fucking bathrooms and stuff, the thing is it harms Black women because suddenly now it becomes acceptable to look at a Black woman, a female assigned at birth Black woman, and assume that she is not the gender that she is identifying and harass her and make her feel like she can't go to the bathroom. Like that's what we're doing here. We're creating a situation where Black women are not safe. We already know that trans Black women are the most in danger when it comes to anti-LGBTQ legislation. They're the most vulnerable community. Right next to it are Black women as well, because they are often lumped into that. Because when you don't trust a trans Black woman, you also don't trust a cis Black woman. And this is why we say, like, leave trans people alone. They're literally just trying to live and exist, because these are all roads and pathways to be able to casually harm Black women and casually harm Black people. That's really what it is, you know? Anyway, how much money would you have to be paid to attend a UFC 250 freedom event?
How much money would I have to be paid? I don't know, man. Like, what do I do with the money, right? Let's say if it's life-changing money, which sadly is like $5,000. No, I'm joking. It probably, like, I don't know, like $1 million. If I was paid like, I don't know, like $10 million to show up to a UFC event at the White House with the understanding that this is to celebrate a racist piece of shit, I don't think that there's any money that would make me go out there, right? Now, if you're telling me that you're going to give me $1 billion just so I can show up, and then after the fact I can still call Trump a racist piece of shit and still take the $1 billion, then I'll do that, obviously. But I don't think that you attend those events and not, you know, implicitly sign off on that person's actions and on that person's desires.
Yeah, we're talking about you, Nate Burgett. He was all like, look at my baby eyes. Look, I'm just a country boy. I'm like, so you guys could totally look. I'm just like a silly guy. And by the way, he does make me laugh. But guess what? He was there. He was at all of these events, and it's absurd. So was Serena Williams' husband for some reason. I was like, what the hell is this?
Was he there?
What is going on? Yes. It was so stupid. I was like, why are these people attending this event? Are you being paid for this? There's not enough money that I would need to be paid to attend an event associated with Donald J. Trump. It just it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, who's the Reddit guy? What's his name? Alexi? A Reddit?
Yeah, Alexis Ohanian. Alexis Ohanian. Oh.
Alexis Ohanian. He was at the UFC thing?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Again, like I do not get the people that are into the UFC stuff. I mean, I guess I get that they're in the UFC or whatever. I don't know why. I don't know how you could attend that event and not see the tie into Trump and not see a tie into all of his racist policies. Like even beforehand, like that should have been obvious. But once you're fucking there and a piece of shit mouth breather is talking shit about Michelle Obama, that's when you say, hey man, I attended the event, but I did not know that, there's going to be all this racism there. I'm going to come out and I'm going to call it out, right? And if Nate Bargatze wants to come back into the good graces of, people that'll actually fucking pay him to do his comedy and not, hillbillies that are going to like him more because he likes Trump. I need to hear that before I look. And again, that's what we talk about with cancellations or whatever. Cancellations only affect the person that you are, in terms of how you consume them. For me, I just go, okay, well, Nate isn't a person for me anymore. That's okay.
Yeah. And this was, by the way, Trump's birthday party.
Yeah.
I looked up, of course, Mark was there, Zuckerberg, the other CEO of Meta, the vice president of Meta, and Andrea Bezman, Nate Bargatze, obviously, Cheryl Hines, and RFK Jr., Shane Gillis, who I'm like, I don't really care about you. Like Shane Gillis, you can't go on the roast of Kevin Hart and make jokes about Chelsea Handler being a Zionist, and then you attend this fucking event. It doesn't matter if Chelsea Handler is a Zionist. You attended a Trump's birthday party, you piece of shit. Tony Hinchcliffe, Jack Osborne, like very weird, very strange. Apparently Tariq Mansour, who's the owner of Kelshi, like just, the worst people. And also a lot of these people, like influencers and stuff, go to these things because it keeps their pockets full. That's really what it is. Also, most importantly, the DoorDash grandma did come to the event. Trump invited the DoorDash grandma.
Oh, she's back?
She's back. Anyway, enough of that. Can we talk about AI real quick?
Allen Iverson?
I would love to talk about him, but I'm not. I'm talking about artificial intelligence.
Ooh, tell me more. I've never heard of this.
Okay. First of all, I just want to go ahead and say I do work in tech. And as a disclaimer, I do want to say that at work, we do utilize AI. There is Claude. There is ChatGPT. There's Gemini. There's Copilot. Apparently, in tech, you have licenses to use all of that shit. What do I use it the most for? Making nasty emails sound very nice. That's my favorite thing to do. And then what I like to do is I like to say, look at a bunch of emails, and especially if there's like a thread of people going back and forth, I'm like, read this thread and tell me the most concise way to get everybody back on track. Right? Or like, tell me what I should do next in that way. Stuff like that. And honestly, to be fair, like there is a lot of like code development that's happening in a lot of tech companies where they use AI. And I think like it's actually being done by intelligent computer engineers, computer scientists who like need to understand how this works. Where I don't love ChatGPT and AI, obviously, is for the casual way that people are like, hey, chat, is there traffic today? Or, hey, chat, this happened with my friend. Am I wrong? Guess what? ChatGPT is always going to tell you that you're right. Did you know that?
So it's interesting that you say that. ChatGPT and I had a whirlwind romance. I wouldn't even call it like an illicit affair. It was a romance. Like it was like I started using ChatGPT like 10 months ago. And I was like, it had obviously like, I was overusing it for sure, because it was like every email that I'd have to reply back to, I'd put a draft in ChatGPT and then I'd copy. And it's just like, dude, you're like doubling up the work. It was just stupid. I was using it stupidly. I started using Claude about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago. And it completely has shifted the way that I use AI. And it is because I noticed that thing where ChatGPT, my work would take me longer because of how fucking agreeable ChatGPT was with me. So like, even when I was giving it stupid instructions and giving it stupid prompts or whatever, it would take much longer for us to get to the actual to like the meat and potatoes of this shit, because ChatGPT was too busy fluffing me and telling me I was a special boy or whatever. Claude does not do that. So I'm actively trying to change the way that I interact with AI. Also, I was at a seminar. Did I tell you this? I was at a seminar like 10 days ago, and I was on a panel about like how to use like AI and stuff like that. So
so you talked about Allen Iverson for an hour and a half, and they said, "Sir, this is an Arby's."
the panel was just two Arby's tables together,
lined up with roast beef sandwiches. We have the meats. Anyway,
the other panelist was just me finger puppeting a roast beef sandwich.
And they're all just like, "You're the best." No, you're the best. Anyway, sorry. Yes, you were at a panel. Okay.
I make my roast beef kiss.
Yes, of course.
But one of the panelists, he was like, one thing I tell people to be mindful of is like, he's like, people saying thank you, please, and thank you to their AI. And I always say please and thank you. And then my joke with that when I'm at work is, for whenever the robot takeover happens, and I just want them to remember me, blah, 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 blah. But he was like, the reason why I tell people to be careful of that is because I don't want you to lose sight of the fact that this is a fucking tool. Yes. It is a tool, and it is something that you need to use. It's not an actual assistant. It's not another human being. Like, be careful of that, because then if you're not, you become overly reliant on it, right? And if you're not careful, you're going to start sharing all sorts of secret and shit like that. So.
Yeah. So actually this week at work, we were having like a bigger meeting, and we talked a little bit about like what the company that I work for has like an entire wellness hub, and they provide you with like, 12 free sessions with like different types of therapists if you need it. We have like a big reimbursement program for like doing any type of wellness stuff. So that means like, if you go get your nails done, you can get that shit reimbursed. Like, it's great. Like anything, right? Anything that you're doing for your mental health, they're going to help out. And, the VP of my organization, he was like, somebody made a joke about, oh, well, ChatGPT, and we were talking about mental health. And he said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that 12 sessions with a certified mental health specialist is better than talking to a robot, because at some point you are going to feel like you are talking to a robot. There's no warmth of talking to ChatGPT. People who talk to ChatGPT for therapy, like, we've had, it's that time of the year, Raheel. It's June. It's high time for me and you to shit on our brother. But our brother jokingly, I know he's just pulling my leg, but he does love to say, people aren't going to need therapy anymore because they can just go to ChatGPT and it's going to replace it. And my thing with that is I think that there are a lot of men, the worst people are using ChatGPT for therapy, by the way. And you know it when you see their like development as like a human adult. Like if you've known someone for 5 years and they've just gotten worse, you're like, I think that they're using ChatGPT for mental health. Like, you don't use something like that and become a better person. But this idea that like ChatGPT is going to eventually erase therapy because therapy and mental health care is so inaccessible in the United States that people need something quickly to help them walk off, the ledge. And the thing is that like that doesn't solve for the fact that we still need mental health care in this country. Like ChatGPT is not going to get people to be better. All it's going to do is actually most likely make you a worse version of yourself. And so this idea that like he always says like, oh, therapists are going to be obsolete because ChatGPT is just going to replace all of them. No. There's a lot of people that are going to be harmed by the people who think that they are healed because they're using ChatGPT. And all those people that are being harmed, mainly women, are going to still need therapy. So if you're a therapist and you're listening to this, don't worry. ChatGPT is not going to come for your job. In fact, it's most likely going to increase your revenue by a lot because people are going to be like, I can't talk to my spouse because he's only been using ChatGPT for 5 years. And now I really need help. That's what's going to end up happening. And by the way, you know what kind of people use ChatGPT for therapy? The people that organized a fucking cage match on the White House lawn.
Yeah. It's so like you use ChatGPT for therapy when you don't actually want to correct anything and you just kind of want to be told that the way that you were thinking has been right the whole time, right? Like that's essentially that's the type of person that you have to be. I think and you have to know that also before you start using it, because there is this there you are kind of you're setting yourself up to not be to not be to not be challenged, right? Like if you were to be challenged, you would have a conversation with another human being, because another human being has a different perspective. ChatGPT doesn't have a different perspective. It has all of the perspectives. And what it's designed to do is to take your perspective and basically just mirror that back to you so that you feel better about yourself, right? So if you're somebody that's kind of stepping into like therapy through ChatGPT, you have to know that, okay, well, the ultimate goal of this is just so I feel better about the choices that I make and the way that I think, because nobody's going to push back on the way that I do it.
A big scary thing that's also happening online is like there's all these celebrities and like influencers, like female targeted influencers, but like celebrities like Reese Witherspoon, or even like Cheryl Lee Ralph, who is from like Abbott Elementary, but also Mel Robbins, and they keep posting about, ladies, do you know that most women don't use AI and they have no idea how to use AI? Well, ladies, it's time to learn AI before you get left behind by AI. I would love nothing more than to be left behind by AI. Honestly, I'd like to be left alone by AI. I'd love that. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm not interested in whatever this ride is. And I think that there's like, if you double click into whatever the fuck is going on here, I'll tell you what it is. All of the people that are posting this stuff, it's all ads, and they're all ads through Microsoft or Google. And so these are Microsoft and Google partnerships that are essentially trying to tell women to use AI more, because their analytics show that women don't use AI as much. And why don't women use AI as much? I'll tell you why. Because the majority of AI that's being available to the common public, whether it's ChatGPT or fucking Gronk or whatever the fuck it is, guess what it's used for? It's used to make sexual images of women. That's what it's used for. A majority of use cases of AI on the internet is taking women's faces and putting it into inappropriate pictures. Like that's what it's being used for. And also, I think that women, and this is just my opinion as a woman, I've been one for 40 years, is that I think that we actually find beauty and whimsy and romance in the doing. Like, we are genuinely interested in, if I have a task to do, if I have to get from point A to point B on a task, my focus is also on the actual like growth that happens to me when I complete that task. And I think men are so focused on productivity and making money and all those things that they're trying to use AI to do as little work as possible to make as much money as possible, right? That's late stage capitalism, baby. But women, I think for all of us, we're still like there is, and maybe it's something as silly as there is beauty and there is art in things that women do for themselves every day. When we do our hair or when we do our makeup or my nighttime skincare routine, like women are really into like routines and spending time, 15 minutes of your day to do something for yourself. And I think that those are things that can't be replaced by AI. So we don't really have interest in using AI to like get ahead. Our interests are like, how do I make this life that I have more beautiful, more meaningful? How do I use my female intuition? How do I create a sisterhood? How do I create safe spaces for women? AI cannot help me with any of that. That happens from community building. That happens from friendships. That happens from child rearing. That happens from like motherhood and parenting. And those are human things that cannot be replaced by AI. So if AI is not going to help me with that, I'm good with being left behind.
Am
I a trad wife?
I don't know. I'm going to need to get a transcript of whatever the fuck you said over the last 3 minutes, and I'm going to feed it to ChatGPT and just go, summarize this. Summarize this for me. This harpy was harping. No, I completely. And that it is, the more I use it, the more I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I use this responsibly? How do I use it to do? Because guess what? Parts of using it are fantastic. Like the efficiency that I'm getting with some of my work and kind of like getting it to think on my behalf, at least functionally speaking, for like objective things, that is a great boon. But yes, I agree with you that it is. I mean, I don't know if it falls under like gendered lines or whatever, like kind of like how people are using it. Because I know that you said that men are just using it just to make a quick buck or whatever. I think actually what I've seen also is that some men are using it for therapy, maybe for the first time, maybe because it does feel safer to talk to an anonymous bot than it would to a human being, which is a fucked up way to look at the world, but it is something that happens because it doesn't require you to put yourself out there in front of and like be vulnerable, right? So I don't know. I hope everybody that uses it responsibly. I hope everybody that is incorporating it into their work is also seeing that all this news that you hear about like massive layoffs because, hey, we have an AI strategy or whatever, those companies in the long run are going to be worse off for it. There is something that you get from having human involvement as part of the supply chain, right? There are things that kind of surface that we don't know about. That's what makes it amazing. When you use things like AI and when you're looking at automation and when your goal is essentially just to make it the quickest way of doing something possible, what it eliminates is like the wonder, and what it eliminates is like the miracle of life. What it eliminates is like if you had put in a chat GPT who's going to win the 2026 NBA Finals at the beginning of the year, I guarantee you the New York Knicks would not have been the end result, right? So like that's a part of life that you miss out on when you are just so heavily reliant on this stuff. So use it responsibly.
Use it responsibly. By the way, anybody I know who has ever leaned on ChatGPT to like do basic things like look something up or get it to, like, I don't know, tell you the best place in the city to eat or something, you're always disappointed. You're always like, oh, ChatGPT said that this is a good idea. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. Use your human brain. Talk to a person. Have you heard about human interaction? Like, there's something so like bleak about the fact that, that AI is replacing that stuff. And I think like, we talked like a few years ago, or like even when Trump won the last presidency, right? We talked about, male loneliness crisis. Like, oh no, these young men, they like don't have men to talk to, so they feel disenfranchised. And every time a Republican gets into office, we have to suddenly talk about the disenfranchisement of men who created this world, men who created every single government that exists, men who are responsible for every fucking border in this goddamn planet. Like, please.
Come on.
And then you hear like, oh yeah, like they're so lonely. There's like a male loneliness epidemic. Yeah, you know why they're lonely? Because they're not talking to people. Because they're talking to fucking Grok. Like they're talking to chatbots. And it's painful and it's horrible. Get out there and talk to a human being. Touch grass, as the kids say these days.
Listen, I understand. As a man, I get it. Everything is stacked in our favors. Yes, I agree with you or whatever. Right. Only thing I will say is like when it comes to things like the male loneliness epidemic, right? Yes, I can understand why hearing that is infuriating when you compare it to the actual living hell that women have to live in, right? Like the actual living hell that is this world where they are where there's a threat to women around every corner. So like that is the reality of the world. Like the world it's hard. It's quote unquote hard for men, and there's like loneliness or whatever, but it's actually a fucking nightmare, a hellscape for actual women, right? Especially marginalized women. So I can hear, I can agree that is a ridiculous thing that you have to hear. Having said that, the reason why there is a loneliness epidemic in men, and why I do think that that's real, is the same system of patriarchy that is putting women down is the same one that men have to figure out a way to not just survive in it, but like to thrive in it, right? And now there is this pressure of having to thrive in it. Like, especially if you are a very online person, if you're a very social media person, you see all this shit. Like, if you don't have a Lamborghini and if you aren't fucking a girl that's 25 years younger than you, then you have somehow lost, which is a stupid fucking thing to go after, right? But that's what men see. And if you're not careful about how you navigate the world, if you're not careful about how you navigate the internet and all those things, like, it's very easy to fall into those traps. Because guess what? Like, I know you never watched that Manosphere documentary, even though after you forced me to watch it, I just had to watch it. But like, even watching that, right? And even watching these people be like so foolish and so stupid, and you go, well, this guy can't form together a sentence. When they show clips of like these like cars and these women or whatever, as a dude, you go, oh man, that seems attractive. Like, that seems like it is, because don't make that face. This is why this
I'm
is
I'm making
a
a face.
loneliness epidemic. A man puts himself out there.
First of all, don't talk over me. This is my podcast. How dare you? I will say this. I'm not making a face because you're like excited by it. I'm making a face because that's how I feel when I see a Lambo. I'm like, this is so stupid.
But yes, is it hard for men? Yes. Is it harder for women? 100,000% times yes, right? Like, it is. But you can't. I know you'd love to just get rid of them all.
No.
You got two.
I'm surrounded by them. Between my brothers and my husband and his brother and my children, I'm surrounded by them. And that's why, like, I get frustrated when I am around men who are not as good as the men that I am actively choose to be surrounded by. It's because I go, why are you the way that you are? Like, that there's an option for you to not be this way, and you'll be okay. In fact, you'll be better than okay. Like, if you choose not to be a douche canoe, you will be so much happier. Like, you will be happier if you evolve as a human being. If you do the work and you evolve as a human being, you are ultimately going to be a happier person. And there's so much beauty in actually like talking to other people. I mean, if we talk about like collective effervescence or what's happening in New York and the joy that we all feel by the Knicks, we feel that because of the human connection. We see there's no AI involved in anything that's happening currently in New York City, of all of the shit that we're like loving and exciting. The block parties that are happening outside in New York City, that is human beings being around other human beings, genuinely experiencing human emotion and human joy. And there's nothing that can replace that, you know?
Yep.
And if being left behind by AI means that I have to go out and seek human connection and actual beauty in nature and the world and human existence, I'm okay with that. I prefer it even, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that they felt a collective effervescence at the UFC 250 Freedom event?
It depends whether or not one of the UFC fighters stuck his thumb up another fighter's bumhole. That would make me feel collective.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing effervescing was the stank coming out of old Donnie's pants when he was passed out.
Are you being unfair to? No, I'm joking.
Imagine. You're like, actually, I wanted to tell you on mic.
Yeah, the male loneliness epidemic, the person we should be talking about is Donald Trump. He's the one. He's the one that needs our grace and our love right now.
Oh my God, disgusting. Anyway, well, that's it for this episode.
Well, that's it for this relationship.
That's it for this relationship. That's it for this episode. Thank you. No, why was I going to thank you? There's no reason for me to thank you. I was going to say thanks for being on the podcast, as if you had a choice in the matter. Thank you guys for listening. I'll be back later this week to talk about Summer House. Also, Patreon patrons, I will be releasing a Housewives recap. Part of it will be on Raheel. What are you doing with your face?
I was making fishy faces.
Okay.
I was giving them a Patreon exclusive.
Oh, Patreon exclusive. Raheel is making a fish face and making a lot of weird sounds from his mouth. I don't like it. It's too close to the mic. Anyway, Patreon exclusive. I will be doing a Housewives recap, but I'm only going to release it to the Patreon because why not? And maybe I'll release it later this week onto YouTube. So go check that out if you're a Patreon patron. Yes.
Is House of the Dragon starting this week?
Yeah, I said it at the end of last week. You didn't pay attention. House of the Dragons comes back on Sunday on Father's Day.
Ooh.
And and we're gonna be recapping those for the Patreon exclusively. So follow us there, patreon.com/therealityIsPod. And Raheel, I am about to go and touch some grass because my kids are riding bikes outside.